Trig, talk to me. How has your day been?
Well, it's been amazing. I mean, hanging out with Elizabeth.
Uh-huh.
Being on the mid-morning show, first of all,
Okay.
to start with. I enjoyed, it was a good vibe, man. I realized I had missed radio, actually.
You should come back.
Yeah. See the way I laugh, no?
I know, right? I love the tea and bread. Why that name, though?
Bread and tea.
Yeah.
Because that's, when we serve you bread and tea in the morning,
Because
so.
I'm the one supposed to serve that.
Yeah, but I mean, late, let's say brunch.
Brunch?
You can
bread
still have
tea?
some bread and tea. Yeah.
I hear you. Elizabeth, talk to me. How are you enjoying Ghana?
I am loving Ghana.
Okay, that's good. So we are back here to talk about relationships, not about any other project, just relationships. Trick has been granting interviews and they talk about his music career. I don't know if he's ever granted interviews where he's delved into relationship issues. Not his personal relationship though. General relationship issues. Have you?
Nah.
Not really.
This is the first time.
Oh, thank you, God. I got it. Okay, so this evening's topic is very dear to my heart because we started a conversation around it somewhere, but we couldn't finish, and it left my audience divided because we couldn't really tackle it. And I felt like, okay, let me bring it back. Let's talk about identifying the king and then the queen in our partners, identifying the king in him and then the queen in her. First of all, Trig, do you think that every man is a king and that every woman is a queen? Do you agree with that?
I would say every man has a potential of being a king.
Potential, not
Yeah,
that they are.
No.
Okay.
And every woman has the potential. I mean, even away from relationships or normal lives, that people are born into the royal family. It doesn't mean they are better than the other people, but it means they are opportuned to be in the royal family and they become kings. But even with that, sometimes when they don't go through the necessary training and all of that, sometimes they bypass them. And then other people are given the position, So, I mean, kings are made, like they say, and queens are made. However, everybody has the potential.
Okay.
Everybody has the potential
All right.
of being a king or a queen. Yeah.
Elizabeth, do you agree with him
So,
that everybody has the potential or they already are?
maybe sometime in the future, everybody will be.
Sometime in the future?
They will have realized their potential.
Okay.
At the moment, everybody has the potential. Possibly, so training and education, upbringing is a structure,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but it supports that. I don't think it's enough. I
Okay.
think the actual, it's really important what happens inside, and your.
So you have to feel it
self-esteem.
inside.
Yeah. It's
to bring it out.
presence, it's probably evolution,
Okay.
your bearing, your attitude,
Okay.
your expectations, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Expectations. Okay.
Not
What?
in relationship.
Not in relation. Now let's bring it down to relationships. Do you expect your partner to behave like a king automatically in a relationship?
Not automatically. I think that it, has to do with, so there's, some of it has to do with looking at yourself.
Okay.
And then, again, respect for your partner.
Okay.
And then, just, expecting certain types of behavior, interaction.
So let's break it down. So with regards to the one you mentioned, yourself,
Yeah.
how do we go about that?
Yeah, I think it has to do with loving yourself, with respecting yourself,
Okay.
and believing that you are worthwhile to spend the time to develop whatever you need to become a well-rounded person,
Okay.
maybe a role model,
Role model.
even,
Okay.
and then also just so that you are confident enough in yourself
Mm-hmm.
that you present yourself, and I'm not talking about like superficially,
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about posing.
No,
or
not that one.
acting,
Not that
or-
one.
I'm not even talking
It fades.
about-
It fades with
I'm not
time.
even talking about clothes, really. It has to do with what's inside.
Okay.
You're real. It doesn't have to do with appearances. So,
Mm.
yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Trig, do you have anything to add to this one?
Well, I think that nobody has the right to feel somebody must be anything.
Okay.
You know, I mean, who are you? First of all, to start with, you know, if I'm in a relationship with you, for you to have a measure to make
I expect you to behave like a king.
I'm sorry, then I'm not gonna
Oh,
be with
come
you.
on.
I'm not gonna be with you to
so I
start
can
with.
submit to you.
No, don't submit to me. You see, the thing is, this is a thing, and we've made it like it's the norm. I mean, who are you? You know, to start with, no matter who I become to you, it will take you to see me that way. So you can dump me, and another person will pick me and say, yo, that's my king. So who are you to say, oh, I expect you to be a king? You don't expect anybody to start with, like,
I expect you to behave in a certain way.
You
see, we all
see-
have expectations prior to entering into relationships. I expect him to treat me like a queen.
do you realize that has become the problem of most relationships?
Oh, really?
Yes,
Is it?
expectations. Yes, expectations.
Am I not supposed to expect
because
anything
you see,
from you?
Because you see, like I said, you might not see me as a king.
All right.
And because you're expecting so much. Now, but that's one-sided, because that's just your own expectation. Then you leave me. Then I meet another person who is open, who takes him for who I am, who sees me as her king, you know, and calls me king, treats me well, and serves me, not because of what I'm doing, because she's taking that decision. You understand? And it will amaze you to know that I didn't even know that till I really tried to find out the meaning of submission.
Okay.
Then I realized that submission is different from service or enslavement. I realized that submission actually takes a decision.
To submit.
To submit, it's a decision. So the woman can even be better than you. But they decide that, you know what, I see you as my king. And a lot of women have done it, and they are still doing it.
So know that the man is a king.
No, you see, who is the king? You see the king. Look, do you know there are even like kings in real life that their subjects don't see them as king? You know, and so it happens even in a relationship. Look, you can be, and you see a lot of time when, like she said, a lot of people look at the material, the way you look, the way you talk, being prim and proper, you know, and everybody seeing like, yo, this guy, why this guy is supposed to be the guy? But you see, to another person, they don't even look at those things. They don't, like she said, you know, how many people decide to be role models in a relationship to guide the partners. And so, like I said, first of all, if you're able to clear your mind with an open mind and say, you know what, Chelsy must be my queen, regardless of her flaws. Often the people who even look out for kinship in people, they have big flaws. They have problems. So now they solve their problem, finding it in other people.
Okay.
And say, oh, you know, why are you not like this? Because they're actually talking to themselves. Because they are looking at things they cannot do, things they don't have, and they want to find it in another person.
Interesting. So is it really necessary we try to bring out a king or a queen in our partner? Is it really necessary? Looking at what you just said?
I think that if I'm hoping or expecting to be accepted for who I am, not thinking that I don't have anything more to learn or that I can't learn from my partner, but that then I have to give the other person the same acceptance, right? So I'm not going to tell them you have to be this way. I have to also accept them for who they are. And
Accepting people for who they are, I think that has been another problem. Because you see, yes, I want to accept you for who you are. But then again, am I really ready to deal with who you are?
But you don't have to then stay in a relationship.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
How about me believing in the fact that, okay, he has prospects. He has the potential to be a king, or he has a potential to be a queen. So I just want to tap into the potential aspect, you know, and sort of groom it. Is it a good thing?
again, I don't feel I can try to inspire somebody
Okay.
to move along their path, whatever it is, but I can't demand that they do that.
Oh.
It doesn't really work.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, the thing is, you can't really change anybody. People can adjust, for you. They can take
Just you.
Yeah, they can adjust because they just feel they don't want to let go and all of that. And like you said, imposing on any man or a woman.
You have to sit this way.
And
when you go out, don't talk.
Yeah, and
Relax.
people do that a lot. And I'm sorry, like what you don't know is you're probably growing something disastrous in the person. The day they break out, you're going to be surprised how they will flip at you.
You don't hold the phone like that. You don't sit like that.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't talk like that.
I've met someone like that.
Ah.
And, I've met someone like that, and it's toxic. I think it's too toxic. I think it's something you need to walk away from. Because, like I said, these people need to overpower you to feel empowered.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily they're looking out for you. So when somebody's looking out for you, normally they say, "Oh, Charlie, I like this thing that I like your shirt," or I like how you look, and they try to make you better. They don't change you. They try to make you better, and making somebody better is not necessarily changing them. Is finding out the best in them, like bringing out the best in them. You understand? So it's not necessarily you sit this way, do this way. Don't mind you. There's also cultural differences.
Okay.
There's training from different homes. The upbringing. It could even be friends. It could even be, I didn't realize small things like where I grew up from. I grew up in Flamingo.
Okay.
And I realized that something as little as that, because it's more like a Zongo type of setting, and certain things seemed strange to me. And, certain partners will look at me like, like you're Trig, you're not supposed to. And I don't do it intentionally, or I do it unconsciously. And before I realized I've done it. And then I realized, no, that's the Flamingo in me. So not everybody gets self-realization by themselves. So it's better to help the person. But if you're going to say, sit this way, hold your phone this way, what kind of thing is that?
When you go out, you're not supposed to dance too much.
Oh.
Some people can't dance when they go out.
I don't like
because,
that.
Oh,
when
no,
I go out with you.
Yes, you will dance, but don't dance too much. Like, you have to put yourself together.
I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't like that,
Meanwhile, you know me. I love to dance with all my hey.
Some people dance, they will dance. Me, I don't like the sweat
more.
part. You dance and sweat. It's like you want to take the attention at the.
Oh, yes.
I don't like that. But I don't criticize you to break you.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. It's not like because you can't take it, you should take it by force. So no, you can talk about it. But don't damage the person. You don't talk about it by damaging the person. Like some people can throw you off totally. Joe Charlie, no, I'm bon. The way they will say it, you go feeling, very insecure, and even when you start smelling good, you look. Trust me, a lot of people have a lot of insecurities that they themselves didn't create. Because they've been told, wutiso, wamotwemu. So they are there, trust me. And look, a lot of great people, they will be there. Sometimes they go to the washroom, they will check their armpits, they will check their mouth. It's not because they've been told so many times. Look, some people even got their success out of these things. And so they punish the people they find themselves with because they've always been made to feel less of people. So please don't. Please, if you're in anything like that, walk out. Please.
Okay. So let's say you pick up a girl or a guy from I don't want to use certain locations. Like that this guy
Let's
is
say
like
Elizabeth
from,
picks up a guy.
Yeah, Elizabeth. You pick up a guy from the streets. He's got all the street vibes. Charlie shirts on the neck or on the shoulder. He just doesn't care about. But you realize that there is potential. He can be a great person. Maybe he's very skillful. He's your partner. How do you help the person identify his value or his worth?
So, just to go back from before,
Mm-hmm.
having lived as an expat for almost 30 years.
Okay.
When we talk about culture, so there's culture in countries, there's culture in cities, as you
Mhm.
said, right? Regions. But there's also like every family has a culture,
Mhm.
right? So you don't always know exactly like what that is until you spend time with a person. You get to know other members of their families. And then also the other thing is I really truly believe, at least it's been true in my life, that relationships are about learning.
Okay.
You learn so much, right? This whole idea of like sometimes you're like it's so easy to notice faults in other people.
Mm.
And then you start thinking, oh, I do that sometimes. And it's like having a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And then so that allows you to advance, or maybe you start by being really almost lenient with somebody who's just like, oh yeah, he said that, but it's okay because all of this other stuff is great in the relationship. So it goes on, and then it snowballs. It gets really, really big until then you're just like, okay, no. And you learn then to put limits.
Okay.
So it's very, so how do you, I guess you have to talk to the other person to find out. So you don't want to like try to push them into a mold of what you think is better or what you think they should be doing or what, you have to find out where their interests are, what their aspirations, their ambitions are. And obviously if you have affinities, if you like to spend time together, you like to talk about things, you'll find ways that maybe you can offer to help them. Something that you've learned to do might help them advance.
Okay. Trig, you go on a date with this girl. Charlie Cadbury says Nakasa Charlie, friends say more cross your dinisabedi. Or buy a no siri wa belty. As it goes a day. But no, Charlie Obani.
Yeah.
Me tasting.
Yeah.
How do we do the polishing? Do we even have to do the polishing at all? And I accept for just the way she is.
Okay, well, for me rather, I'm rather like that. So answer now all those
Okay.
You understand? Anybody that knows me knows that I'm like that. I go out with her. She doesn't eat with the cutlery. Why stress her? With that. Oh, I'm gonna find a nice
on
way.
Pehil say like on Penny.
You're actually mentioning all the things I like.
Hey.
You understand? So I will find a way to say, oh, Charlie, you know what? Me, I don't even like the cutlery set, Charlie. We ain't dropping iron fire and sanity. You understand? Because you see, all the things you are saying are just on the surface. Now, I don't pick a partner because I may not be too old, but I'm growing. And I've come to realize that certain things just waste time. They really bring you back. You understand? Because even now, I'm finding myself doing music, okay? And music and more, other businesses here and there. I find myself also, I found my purpose, okay? Now, imagine me just picking someone because she can eat well with the fucking knife, and yet she can't understand the fact that, look, right now it's like 7-something. I have to be here, probably close at 9 and get home at 12, and understand that it's part of me getting close to my purpose or me accomplishing my thing. Those are the things that right now I think about too. Like somebody will understand I have to stay in the studio, probably working overnight, and I'll come back in the morning. Or somebody that will be able to, maybe I'm bad with managing money, but she can manage the money, but I'm good at bringing in money, but she's good at saving. Those are the things that I rather look at, because the restaurants now, the more we keep going, the more we spend the money.
Again, she's going to meet your friends, she's going to meet your family. She's supposed to present
Madam Fubia ni wa obeti mi amake Miguel. Madam Fubia ni wa obeti mi amake Miguel.
Why?
No, because I call the shots.
Okay.
Why would you give room for your friends to even become the measure or the yardstick to measure your
friends
woman?
Will go like, wait there. That's an ex in here better. Hey, no friends. Friends will always be friends.
You see, when you allow it, that's when it happens. Do you know none of my friends can even pass a comment, like, unless maybe I'm not there, they can talk amongst themselves. But if I'm there, say, you're coming to tell me there, Charlie, this one I used to. No, it may be. Then I have given them the room. Like maybe I go to them and say, Charlie, what do they think about my girl? And the moment you do it once, you do it twice, they feel they are the counselors in the relationship. So they can tell you and tell you anything they want to tell you. But that I'm there, like yeah, I'm there, you say, Charlie, this is your girl, yeah. Like we like the other one. They can't even say it. They may probably even act it. Fine. Maybe when she's there, they won't laugh, they won't talk. But to tell me there, hey, how? Especially if I'm in, like me do I could dim. That one the wow.
It can be bounty.
Because you are my friend, so you become my friend on certain things. I may come to you, pick a few ideas from you, and all. And you see, that's one thing too that we should stop doing, even with family, and even in the other side, like discussing maybe your friends with her, and discussing her to your friends. You know, both ways it's not so good. Or I say, if you have anything to say, say the nice things, because the day she decides to walk away or he decides to walk away, you have your friends to fall on. And the day your friends move away from you, you will have her to fall on.
All right.
So make sure you are not destroying anybody amongst the two. One mistake that I realized that, you know, someone very close to me did, and I also have done it before, is to, for instance, be in a sometimes when in a relationship and the conversation, you don't have much to say, you end up saying things that don't matter, like destroying your family to your partner or the very close friends around you. Because you see, mind you, once you are saying it, sometimes your friends can offend you, and maybe because you are pissed, you call your girl, oh baby, you know, this person did it, he's like that, he likes doing that.
I've already warned you to stay away from this person. Like
so immediately the person records it, that no, this person is like that, this person. So they tend to have some resentment against that person, and then they make them their enemies because they are with you. Mind you, the day they will walk away from you, and they might even meet your friend and say, this is what your friend told me about you. So me, I'm very careful. Me, I always defend my friends, and I always defend my girl. So at the end of the day, everybody is, because I've done it before and I've seen like the damages that it will cause. So who are you, a friend, to come and tell me that your girl doesn't eat well with the cutlery? So giant. No,
anyway, Danny Mudin says that, Chelsy, please tell Trick I'm feeling his vibe. Wow. Anyway, but Trick, so how do we put this person? And I be Janisa.
How do you what?
This how do we put this lady in a, okay, I don't want to say proper way, because when proper way, how do we handle such a person who probably hasn't found a way to put herself together or make herself presentable? How do we do that?
I don't understand. Like when you meet a girl who's not presentable.
Yes.
Oh, you know,
you take her through school,
through gifts, and you have to empower your partners all the time. You know, you can give them gifts, you can talk to them. Sometimes you can even, you know, everybody has that one person that they respect, and you can find a way to get those people involved, you know, one way or the other, and then, you know, just sort of throw in an advice here and there. Certain things about certain people will never change. You understand? It's like you can't.
It will never change.
Oh, the be jare dear masa. A day. Unjare dear obeko. Unjare say. Oh, there be intisano. A woman say, wow, your banner was a boy in page area. You know, tiny in jare. Ujare bia one man or one. A benedict. Oh no, sure, you have to find practical ways of
I don't think Elizabeth will agree with you on this. No. Elizabeth, how would you handle a partner who doesn't like taking his bath?
What does that mean? So I happen to really love baths.
Okay.
And I'm just like, now I'm going to share this really strange detail of my life. But in my apartment, when I moved 3 years ago, and I hadn't had a bathtub for like 4 or 5 years, and I missed that. So I installed, like, they had just converted the bathroom, and they put in a shower, and the bathtub was gone. I was like, oh no. So I have a beautiful bathtub. I installed the bathtub on the other side of the bathroom. I didn't undo what they had done. In my case, maybe I would just invite my partner to have a bath.
Thank you. Thank you.
You will invite him
Thank
to have
you.
a bath with you?
Same thing I
Ah.
said. Same
I
thing.
thought you're not gonna agree with
Who
him,
will
but it looks
refuse
like
that? I will bath, Papa. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
Same
Because there are
thing.
some guys, some are like PK.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Chelsy.
Say what you feel and feel what you say.
But Chelsy, you know that some girls don't like baths.
Oh, for ladies, I don't think it's.
You
No, no. I'm yet to
Some
see.
ladies.
No, I'm
Some
yet
ladies
to.
don't
I'm,
like
no, I'm
bathing.
yet to meet a lady who doesn't like taking her bath.
Oh, they
The
are
ladies
there.
I know, some of them take their bath like 3 times in a day.
There are some who like taking their baths. There are others who are on the opposite end of that bath.
Now, about one page, I read the libel.
Lie, who be sir?
Ah.
There are ladies like that. There are people like that. I mean, the way guys, I keep saying that fundamentally, guys and girls are not that much different.
Okay.
So the things
Yeah.
that guys are guilty of,
Uh-huh.
women are
Are
also
equally guilty of, yeah.
Okay, I hear you. Anyway, we are looking at bringing out or identifying the king in her, and then the queen, the king in him, and then the queen in her. Yes, forgive me for that. So already we've established the point that you don't necessarily have to do certain things for the person to be called a king or a queen. You just have to start giving the person the title. Charlie Nana is saying, or Hima is saying, those kind of vibes. It kind of helps to put the person in shape. Because there are some women, when you call them Ohima, they feel like, yay.
Yeah. My woman calls me king.
King.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she says my king.
In Spanish, it's very common. It's a term of endearment. Mire, Mirena.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now I've also learned to say queen.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Whether you like it or yes.
Yes.
Okay, so our final advice with regards to this particular one, how do we handle our partners with regards to the kingship and then the queenship bit? Because some people expect a lot from their partners, you know, how they behave in public. I've seen somebody yell at the girlfriend simply because amudu party as you know, kiki girl no too much and no start to
sorry.
say or yeah leg dancing no hona shout yelling be a free baby buy no I heard madam tina
Next one, be also do be nam ya drop you banga o ko ye leg work say. Yeah. But you see, you might have known that she loves to dance before you know pushing her.
You know, some people can't even dance in front of their partners. Like they can't do so many things in front of their partners because they feel like, oh, me nyamanen kasa too much.
Yeah, but also know that anything you start becomes a tradition in a relationship. So if you know that you dance and let him know that you like dancing from the beginning. If you know you can't open doors, or me, I know I'm not the type that I open car door, that kind of thing. So I don't do it. So that you don't come and see the day I don't
But
open.
do you send gifts?
Oh, once a while. I
Not
love
frequent.
to surprise. I love unexpected stuff. Oh, so maybe I won't open the door. I won't, but I would surprise you when you don't expect something. One thing I personally may not like or I don't like is asking for things like not like money. I mean, when I've planned to surprise you and maybe I'll say, oh, I have something coming for you. I don't like you to remind me. Because
Then
I
why
know
say
I know when to do it. Sometimes the surprise is so nice that you spoil it. But I mean, it's cool. But anyways, back to your question. First of all, please lower your expectations for people. They are
Okay.
not God. You didn't give birth to them. They are also trying. Mind you, they are also putting up with things you don't know they are. They are dealing with a lot of things that they may not be saying it, and not everybody will be vocal in a relationship. So create room for a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, and talk about everything, especially the beginning stages. A lot of times people rather use the early stages for sex, a lot of sex and a lot of affectionate stuff, but I feel like the early stages is where you have to talk a lot so that you know that this person, I can't change this thing. If there are things that you can't change, please leave early. You know this one, you can't handle it. Already you are seeing that the person is worrying you at a certain part, and this is the place where you are going in your life. So don't entertain it very long, because sometimes too people have rushed to maybe chop 1, 2, and the thing is nice. So they find it difficult to work out. You understand? But I think that when it has to do with your purpose, you can't sacrifice anything for your purpose.
Okay.
You shouldn't do that at all. So don't necessarily try to change anybody. Create room for a lot of talk, but empower each other. Empower yourselves. Empower yourselves.
Empowerment, yeah. Okay, please, can I have your final words with regards to this one?
Yeah, so when I spoke about expectations before, I'm not really talking about what or how I expect my partner to be. It has to do with how, and this is something I've learned, like how I expect to be treated. So that, and then the other stuff, it's good to be surprised. You don't want to, routines are kind of dangerous in relationships. I think if people get bored and frustrated. Yeah, I guess in terms of trying to encourage potential, a good thing to look at is try to figure out like why.
Okay.
Is it because this person is really young and experienced? Is it because they've had really hard, they've been through some hard experiences, some hard situations? Is it because they lack self-confidence or self-esteem? Is it, for any number? So if they're not feeling very confident, then you can do things to boost their
confidence.
And their sort of confidence. And these types of comments in public, in the heat of the moment, it's not the right time to do it. Let's just like wait till you're home, everybody's calm, you've had a little bit of time to think about what happened, get a little bit of perspective. Yeah, and then you can comment.
Okay. It's good you're here. Let's look at this whole women empowerment bit. What's your opinion on it?
So, it's a funny thing. I grew up in New York City in the 70s. Yes, I'm that old. And
You look beautiful.
It was, thank you.
Yeah.
It was a time of huge social change in the United States, and New York was kind of one of the centers of it. And so my mom, she identified as a feminist. She was one of these early women who was involved in the movement in the States, and she took time off. She worked as a French teacher before I was born. She took time off when I was young and my brother was young. And then she went back she got a master's in teaching. She switched to teaching English as a second language, and she was working. And she was the first person in her department at the community college where she taught. She taught there for 40 years in Queens. She was like one of the first people. When she started working, she was like, okay, I want to spend the afternoon with my kids. So she would like go in the morning and teach some of her classes, come back to be with us, and then go out and teach at night again. She sort of set a precedent. So then she was like cleaning the house and getting everything ready, and she was like one of these super women. And so for me, it's like hearing that a woman was a feminist was not only was it kind of normal, it was a positive thing. And then when I moved to Europe in my 20s, and people started saying, "Oh, feminists," like, it's almost as if they perceived, and I really like the term empowerment, because feminism in Europe often is perceived as being sort of anti-men, and it's not anti-men. It doesn't, like that's at least that's not how I experience it or perceive it. It's really about like every human being having equal opportunities and the potential to grow and to thrive. And I also think that until enough men are convinced that it's good for them too, it's going to be very difficult
How?
for it to happen.
Because OB doesn't agree with that.
Okay.
OB thinks it's toxic.
Why do you think it's toxic? It's maybe because there is toxic feminism. There is feminism. There are feminists that I know who are very much like all men are evil and like, and that's not what it's about to me at least. Like so I understand that you think that that's toxic because it's not. It's inappropriate. Like right? You don't want to. I mean, it's like racism. It's another ism, right? So you don't want to like turn everything. You don't want the balance to be off balance the other way either. That's not helpful.
Exactly.
You're trying to like rectify everything so that everybody has a good life.
Okay.
I think to answer her question, unfortunately, women empowerment has been explained in the context of what it's supposed to be to mean bring the men down, which is so unfortunate because I understand it's extreme, but it's still something we are facing. That some way, somehow, some women believe that to be empowered, you need to depower the men, which is not necessarily the case. I mean, we can bring each other up without having to come down. The idea is for me, or for if we are helping, working together, the idea is to bring each other up, not pull us down. Because if you pull the man down, you are not empowered. You just bring all of us to the bottom level, and that's not really empowerment. That defeats the purpose.
Okay.
So that's what OB and myself, we don't agree with, the anti-men movement rather than women empowerment.
So I would
Okay.
challenge you.
I told you, right?
To talk to women about that. Like to talk, especially to the women, without yelling or getting, having like aggressive arguments, but to say, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could do it this way? Because we need that. We need you to be involved. Yeah, that's cool.
Trig, you've
Yes.
heard a lot of women empowerment here and there. I need your honest opinion.
Yes.
Are we doing the right thing, or are people not really understanding the whole women empowerment bit?
Well,
Because
yeah,
the definition she
I
gave,
think,
I kind of
okay.
side with
Go
her
ahead.
because that's the kind of women empowerment that I know and I believe in, but I don't know what you've heard and what you really
you mean
believe
what
in.
I've experienced also. It's exactly what the gentleman here is saying. A lot of times feminism has been weaponized, and a lot of females are now really getting it really wrong. I've also been to a number of feminist discourse, and I'm even attending one on Monday, and which is an agenda by the UN. And it's about these talks, where we have to understand that the balance in society is not necessarily about one being weaker or one being stronger. It's about highlighting the opportunities. And Chelsy, you might disagree, but the truth is, opportunities are open to all. Whether male or female, they are there.
Surprisingly, I agree with you.
They are there. They are there. And I always say, think about it. Like, for instance, why is it that when it comes to certain professions, the only time, we hear a lot of women talk when like we are not being empowered to do this and do that. For instance, if you look at our schools, you look at our courses, when you go to schools, in the places of arts where even engineering or metal works or metal fabrication, masonry, and all these things, you find women shunning away from it by themselves. You understand? And these are equal opportunities. Opportunities doesn't have to be limited to just gender, or certain jobs or stuff like that. For instance, you find your car breakdown, and the first thing that you think that you can do is to call your man. You understand? But you never think that in that same vein, you probably could have maybe just read a little bit about cars.
Because I just go to
And-
Google when I know my car has a fault, and then I go.
Thank
check it
you.
out, and,
So we
YouTube
need
will
to
help me.
highlight the available opportunities. We need to highlight, and like she's saying, it's not by any maybe fiscal or aggressive argument. And I don't think we've ever been. Well, maybe some do, but most times I've had this discussion between like men and women, and how it's like the women have built a defensive wall, so we don't want to hear.
Okay.
You guys are not respecting us. You guys are not treating us like you should. You guys are not. It has never been a calm, sit down conversation.
But it's a
And-
very emotional subject for women sometimes.
It
Because we
It
have
has
is.
entered our homes. It has entered into relationships. That's why I'm actually raising this.
Very pervasive.
I agree. I agree. But you see, it can't be an excuse to always push to push to negate the agenda of true feminism. You understand? I personally admire a lot of women who are doing. Look, there's this carpenter in Nigeria. She's female, and she's chosen upon herself to train other female carpenters, and they're doing crazy
So is the woman empowerment bit is job related?
No, not just job related.
relationship.
And I know them personally, you know, and you should see how she eulogizes her husband. You understand? I've seen people who have come and say, for you to do this business with me, kindly talk to my man. And I know that the business is theirs. So I went to them. But they're like, talk to my husband first. Whatever he says, we shall do it. For the longest time, I mean, it's just like there's this beautiful example to always cite from when you look at a company, an event company we have here in Ghana, one of the biggest. You know, the CEO is the wife and the COO is the husband, you know, and they've been able to understand themselves, and the company has been 20 plus years, you understand? So it's not just about the business, but it's about me. I think if you find yourself as a woman and you're happy within, you are able to share that happiness wherever you go. Whoever you meet, whichever man you meet, you're able to share that happiness. You don't wait to be talked down on, to feel talked down on. You believe already who you are. And even and let me say this, men go through equal things, but they may not sit to share it. I've always said that I'm waiting for a show where men will sit to talk about their woes. And I've been waiting for that. That, you know, even heartbreaks. Look, we were driving from Takrady to Accra and we were 4. And the number of heartbreak stories I heard from Takrady to Accra, I was like, this is content.
Because you are the ones breaking hearts.
Look, Chelsy.
Dating people
Chelsea,
left, right, center.
I was shocked. And some had, you know, like visuals. And I was shocked. And one of them is like, Charlie, I've known this all this while, but I can't leave her. I'm stuck. I love her. I was like, hey, Joe. Oh, yeah, Joe. You know? And over you. Yeah, over me. And you see, these are things where maybe, you know, we have also been trained that, you know, a man doesn't cry, you know, don't cry.
Exactly.
You know, which is also very wrong.
Do you have that? Do you have that? The men
Of
don't cry?
masculinity, yes.
Yeah, I mean it's relaxing a bit, but it still exists. But that's the point. So
Yeah.
this is where the stereotypes, the gender stereotypes, don't benefit anybody.
Yes.
They benefit nobody, and that's why it's good for everybody to change that. And I think it's true that women could study anything, but there is a lot of societal pressure to like fit into these molds.
Yes,
And
true.
when you
I agree.
go out of it, you have to have like a fair amount of self-confidence and conviction, and the tough skin sometimes, depending on what you're doing, to like go for it. So it's not.
And I think relationships are very good grounds to shaping some of these things. You know, for instance, I mean, my woman falls on me for a lot of encouragement.
Yeah.
You know, whenever she's down, I'm like, you know how dope you are. Do you know how? You know, and I say those things not because, you know, they are lies. You know, because I just feel like she should know it by now. You know, and whenever I do that,
Sometimes we don't.
Yeah,
Seriously.
whenever I do that, I see how she's able to like go out and,
Our
you know,
support system.
yeah, like, you know, it's like, hey, so this one thing I said, you know, so maybe some of us can learn to do that, empower women, talk to them a lot, you know. I think we do though. Yeah, I think we do. But
And we also do too. We also do. We pamper you guys every now and then.
A quick one. So
Oh yes, we do.
You
We do.
mentioned
We
that
do.
you think a lot of the choices that women make in the kind of jobs that they enter into, maybe in school and all that, it's usually because of societal pressures. But don't you think that sometimes it has to do with biology, per the makeup that we have as human beings too?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously there are certain, I don't think I would be a great construction worker. I mean, I'm tall, I'm fairly strong, but even so, like, yeah. So some of that does come in, but it's so interesting when I've traveled to So in the United States, we still have what we call this this gender gap in science.
Right.
They're really,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
even now when many, like we don't do that well. And I was just so fascinated in China and in India. I met this little girl who's about 11 in India. Her mom is a scientist and she's just like, yeah, she does really well in math and she's like totally motivated to do, and for her that was like really normal. And yeah, I guess sometimes, yeah, there's this whole thing that happens as well, at least it happens in the States, where children, like in young children, they're very often, young girls do better in school than young boys. And then there's this strange thing that happens in high school, and then like teenage girls start to feel like, oh, maybe they're not supposed to be that smart, or they might threaten
The
young-
guys.
And some of this is like old fashioned, but some of it is still
It's-
kind of happening.
Yeah.
I
It's-
think,
it's-
yeah,
it's
right?
the system.
So my point,
Okay.
okay. So my main point is that yes, there's societal pressures and all that, but a lot of the things that happen around us is more or less biological, and there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah.
Because when you pick a man and a woman, biologically we are different on so many levels. The size of our hearts, our frames, and everything, so different for particular purposes. And no matter how we try to switch society and the pressures around us, we can hardly change these things. I hope I'm making sense. Anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's just something that popped into my mind.
Okay.
There's an interesting thing that's almost, well, it's very common in Jamaica,
Okay.
which is that it's very, so you have this biological thing where it's easier for young women to bear children, right?
Yeah.
But if you do that in your early 20s, then you're not pursuing a career, and
Yeah,
you're going to be at a
yeah.
disadvantage later if you want to enter the workforce.
Yeah. I don't think it's just Jamaica. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and so what happens is it's very, very common for women to give birth at like age 19, 20, 21, and their mothers raise their grandchildren.
Okay.
And so the generations overlap. You have very
Yeah.
healthy children. You have very young grandmothers who are like finished working and they're ready to raise a kid.
Oh, okay.
And it seems to be, well, it's a possible solution. I don't know if it's ideal, but it works.
Anyway, thank you very much. I think it's 8 already. We're going to go for a commercial break, and when we come back,